Then based on those separate data sets which will be provided to you, as well as the instruction set which will be provided to you, you will have to work on the Google Colab notebook, and then eventually your answers are to be submitted in the Seek exam portal as well. So the two parts of the MLP OPPP are data manipulation and pre-processing and the model building part. So if I tell you how the process will work like, so the course team will be sending you a Google Sheet in which you will be having uh, your roll numbers, and corresponding to your roll numbers, a link for a Google Colab file will be attached. So for that specific Google Colab file, you will need to access that by that link. You don't need to make a copy of that file in your local system or not anything like that. You will be just supposed to mention your roll number and name in that specific Colab file. After that, it will follow, what should I say, the labels for each question, and you will be allowed to copy paste the questions from the Seek exam portal. Now, one general query which arises that while taking the exam from the Seek exam portal, we aren't allowed to like switch screens. But this is something which is allowed in the MLP course OPP. You can go there, copy the question, paste it here in the Colab environment, and eventually when you are done with copy pasting all the questions, you can move ahead with solving them. So make this thing very clear. You are allowed to switch between three tabs. One tab will be your exam tab, one will be your Colab notebook, and one thing will be the SQL references sheet. You will be finding that sheet attached in the exam portal only. And if you have attended these sessions as well, so you guys could have seen that sheet, and I have shared it multiple times there as well. So that sheet will be acting as like a small helper for you so that you can access the, you should say, the APIs properly. If you don't remember any API, it is not an issue. You can go through that sheet, search for the exact thing you want to do, get the exact API, and eventually carry on with your work. Okay. So if I talk briefly about these two parts which I mentioned, the model building part, it is relatively easier. The easier stuff is model building part. What you need to do is basically you will be provided with a data set which will be pre-processed by the team's end only. Nothing has to be done in the data set provided for the model building part. No changes in the data set. What you need to do is basically just follow the instructions which are mentioned, and then based on those instructions, you will be getting some answers. The answers, you might need to terminate them in cases when it is mentioned about like writing the answers to third decimal place or fourth decimal place. So in such scenarios, you'll have to round off the answers and submit the answers to the portal. Don't worry, the last digit round off thing is considered because generally when the teachers take the answers into consideration, it is always considered as a specific range. So your answer, if it is varying by the last digit, whether it is lying in the range or not, that will define if your answer is correct or not. Okay. It will be a easier part and will take lesser amount of your time if you practice with plenty amount of data and stuff at your end. So MLP course is basically more or less about practice only. You need to give good amount of practice because writing the codes is not that tough. There are specific patterns which are to be followed, specific set of instructions which you need to keep in mind, and eventually you will be having your answers. Okay. When you get to this part of data manipulation and pre-processing, it is where things get a little tricky. Why? Because you can see the data set will be unseen, and eventually it is possible that the questions which will be asked could contain anything that can be based on the data. It could be about string manipulation, it could be about conditional sorting, it could be about data selection, it could be about date time library stuff, or even dropping, pre-processing, pipelines, column transformers, feature unit, and other things which are part of our course. So if you ask me, the first tip which I will like to give is to get your hands on the model building part and try to complete it within 35 to 40 minutes. because that will ensure that you have plenty amount of time left for the data manipulation and pre-processing portion. And eventually the thing is, when you are done with the model building part and you have got the answers, firstly, your confidence will be on a higher note. And secondly, you will be securing 50% marks. Means that entire threat of whether you are passing your OPP or not is reduced. If you are doing the model building part with close to 80% accuracy, you are actually passing the course. You are actually passing the OPP, not the course, I mean, but passing the OPP. So the first step would be to specifically focus on the model building part and then eventually move to the data manipulation part. So till now, anyone has any queries, you can ask. Otherwise, I will try to explain in depth about the stuff which you need to give special emphasis on. So if anyone has any queries, you can please raise your hands. Yes, Dave, please go ahead.
Can you please give the important stuff to prepare for the OPP? Because is the like I didn't do most of the assignments due to conflicting college rules.
Okay, so firstly, the thing is that have you gone through the discourse forum link that we had attached for the practice OPP sheets? Are you
I don't
active on
think so.
discourse forum?
No, sir.
Okay, just give me a second. Let me share that with you. I mean, the team is working pretty much on the back end. So I request you all to please go through the discourse forum at least once a day because you can find relevant resources shared by us and the instructors as well there. So in the chat box, I have shared a link. This is for a discourse post in which you can find the past term question papers. So we have attached 5 question papers for your practice. And trust me, if you are able to do these 5 papers um, with your knowledge only, then you are going to perform very well in the OPP because they are exact replica of how the OPP is going to follow. It has both the bifurcations of the pre-processing in the model building part, and eventually it also contains all the instructions and exact questions which were the part of the OPP exam. So it is highly advisable to go through all these papers at least once and try solving them by yourself. For anyone who has any queries regarding these question papers, we have been discussing them in the TA sessions as well. So you can refer to the TA sessions, and whenever or wherever you are stuck in the question paper, go to that specific timestamp, understand the question, try to understand the approach we are trying to tell you, and eventually give that effort of writing the code. If you are able to write the code by yourself, then it's very good. In case you are not able to write the code yourself, just see what we have done, what thing we have used, what was our idea before writing the code. So this will help you build that specific logical thinking, which you will be needing in the process of work. I hope this answers your query, Dave. Regarding the specific stuff, I need to take a little minute more, and then I'll be telling you what important things could be part of the OPP, which you can work upon or practice, and eventually they will help you improving your score. Okay.
I think we don't have much time. Like Thursday and Friday is pending, so
Sorry.
I mean only 2 days are pending. So I had works in college. So is 2 days enough to practice?
I mean, it is upon you how much time you give. For some people, even a week is less, and for some, even 2 days are more. You need to ensure that you have done all the graded assignments by yourself. You understand what the things in the course are all about, and you're able to write the code, understand the errors. All that is equally important. So if you give good amount of time to this question papers which I've shared and practice a lot by yourself, definitely you will be scoring well. I hope this
Okay.
answers your question.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else have any question? Okay, give me a quick thumbs up if all the questions are okay. Someone is asking where can I get the question paper? The question paper link I've shared in the chat box, the chat for this meet only. This is a discourse post in which a Google Drive is attached. You can find 5 question papers. Yep, Chetan has pinned it up. Okay, so I mean, I'll be requesting you all to please practice these question papers because this is the closest we can give you resources for preparing for the OPP exam. They are the exact question papers which came in the past terms. So practicing them will give you a very good idea of how OPP is followed. For the TA session recordings as well, we have created a separate discourse post. Guys are like very less active on discourse, I guess. That's why things are not pretty much clear to you. Anyways, no issues. I shared this link also. In this, you can find all the links for the TA sessions, the recordings, the materials that we have used, and the extra stuff which was provided by our end. And eventually, a small summary for every session is mentioned corresponding to each session which we have taken. So please be a little more active on the discourse forum because enough resources are shared with you guys there. Okay. If you all are on the same page, I can move forward. So give me a quick thumbs up. Okay. I hope we all are good to go. Okay. Mr. Ayappan has a question. He raised his hand. Was there any question or should I proceed? Okay, I should proceed ahead then. Okay then. So specifically, firstly, emphasizing on the model building here to record answers. Okay. So the thing is, basically, you will be getting a Colab notebook and a link for the Seek exam portal where your exam questions will be present. You need to do all the coding, the entire stuff which you are writing. That is to be done on the Colab notebook which is provided to you. The recording for the Colab notebook will be going on, and those recordings will be checked alongside when your answers will be checked. So you need to do all the coding there, but your final answers will be considered only those which you are marking in the exam portal. So don't forget to mark the answers in the exam portal. That is very mandatory. If you get any answer, either write it someplace or store it in one place and then go to the exam portal and mark all the answers sequentially. Or just after doing 1 or 2 questions, keep going back to the exam portal, mark the answers, submit and get back to your Colab. Note that there won't be any issue with the counter which you get for switching tabs. That is not valid for the MLP OPP. You can switch tabs n number of times. Okay. Yes, you will be able to refer to the sklearn documentation, but for that there is a specific methodology. I'll be letting you know when I'll be sharing a Colab notebook and eventually making you practice with some questions. Okay. So please be a little patient for that part. Okay. So regarding the model building part, if you guys remember, or if you have gone through the sessions, the model building part has basically 3 steps which are to be followed. All you need to do is firstly import the model using the API, instantiate it, after instantiating the model, what you need to do is basically focus on which part of the dataset you need to train your model on. So it has to be trained either on the train set or the test set. This has to be checked. Obviously, it is always said that the model is trained on the training data set only. Then after the model is trained, you will be either supposed to tell the parameters for the trained model, parameters for trained model, or you guys would be answering based on the evaluation metrics. And before all this process, there is a hidden task or maybe a prerequisite task which is the train test splitting of the data set. So these are the major components that will be there in the model building part. Now, what has changed in the model building part from the past years? I don't know if many of you are aware about this or not, but there has been a slight change in the syllabus of the MLP course this time. So we will be having some new content which will come in the later weeks of the course. So you don't need to worry about that. But when it comes to the OPPE 1, the regression models, which will be the part of the model building exercise, they have increased in number. So now in the regression part, you will be having the ensemble methods as well, the tree methods, the multi-layer methods as well, or I should say the neural networks, SVMs, and the naive Bayes. So in the earlier terms, the linear regression models, the lasso enriched, the regularized models, SGD regressors, parameter tuning using randomized search CV and grid search CV. PCA is not a regression model, Shekhar. So all these things have increased in comparison to the last terms, what the syllabus used to follow. But the steps will remain same. All you need to do is basically import the model, instantiate it, train it on the training set, and either tell the parameters for the best trained model or the best model or best estimator, or either tell the results based on the evaluation metrics. So do remember the evaluation metrics which are associated with the regression task. They are either R2 score or any kind of root mean squares error. It could be root mean absolute error. It could be mean squared error only. It could be negative of absolute error. So these are all the specific scoring metrics on which questions can be asked. So the model building part will be relatively easier and smaller to do. Okay. Now, if I get back to the pre-processing part, there the syllabus is a little vast. It could follow stuff from basic conditioning. It could include, what should I say? That could be manipulation. By manipulation, I mean that you need to change the data types or change the values which are present or extract some values. So all this is part of the manipulation. It could be string operations as well. It could be date time operations as well. It could be selection as well. All this can be part of the data manipulation in pre-processing portion. The major things which are eventually little trickier for students to follow, those are the imputation, encoding, scaling, feature union, pipeline, and column transformers. Why they can be a little bit trickier is because all this portion is combinedly a part which can be worked upon at the same time. So these things can be worked in a sequential or in a parallel format. That is why writing the codes to them is a little rigorous stuff. Why so? Because these codes are not one-liner codes. They are little robust. They are little bigger in size. So you'll have to give special emphasis on this portion. Okay. So that is more or less what I wanted to tell about the content which you have to follow or study or revise and the important topics which were there. So if you have any questions till this part, you can ask. Otherwise, we will be going to the Google Colab environment next, and eventually we will be discussing some questions. I've got some stuff with me, so we'll be practicing those questions. Okay. Yes, Mr. Shivam Dubey.
Sir, we would like have to use different evaluation metrics or only one.
No, the thing is, every instruction would be mentioned. If you are supposed to answer based on R2 score, it will be clearly given in the question that you need to answer based on the R2 score. So every question will be based, or every answer that you need to give will be based on the exact set of instructions which is provided to you. Okay. Any other questions? In the collab, yes, model building will be the second part. Like you will be having separate question markings. So in the exam portal, you will be having the questions in the sequential format. So initial, I should say like 10, 15 questions could be based on pre-processing. In the following 10, 12 questions could be based on model building part. So you will have the question numbers marked in the collab only. So it is upon you on which part you want to work first. Why? Because we are being provided with two separate data sets now. One data set will be for the part of pre-processing, and one data set will be the part for the model building exercise. Okay. So you'll be given two separate data sets and you'll have to work on those. Okay. The process is simple. Download the data set in your local machine, and then in the Colab notebook, transfer it or import the dataset. Eventually read the dataset how you do using the basic pandas library, and then work upon it. Okay. Yes, the distribution will be 50-50. It is pretty much the equal distribution. Like marks will be distributed equally. It could be possible that one of them has a higher number of questions, like if one has 12, the other can be having 14 questions. So it is possible, but the marks distribution will be. No, there won't be a connection between the two data sets, because the second data set which you will be getting for the pre-processing exercise, that will be just pure numerical data set. It won't have anything. Please keep it in mind that in the data set for the model building exercise, you don't need to do anything. You don't need to perform any kind of imputation, encoding, scaling, anything. That data will be pre-processed. You just need to follow the instructions which are provided regarding the model building part. Okay. Okay, you want to see the kind of documentation? Yeah, Deepak, pretty much like what you got for the week 5. It will be a totally pre-processed data set. Just follow the instructions, do the process, give the answer. That's it. Okay, if you want to see the sheet, let me get it. Just give me a second. I'll also share the link of the sheet with you. Skill and quick references. This is the sheet. The OPP won't be similar to the Kaggle assignment one. The Kaggle assignment was the Kaggle assignment was basically all about your thinking. While performing the Kaggle assignment, you had to do everything from your end. But in the OPP, you need to follow the instructions. Okay, give me a second. Let me show you the sheet as well. Yes, this is the sklearn sheet you will be getting. Okay, let me give you a scenario. Suppose you need to write the code for cross-validation task. And for that, I am asking you to use the k-fold cross-validation method. Now, to import the k-fold method, you need to write a sklearn API that is from sklearn.something import k-fold. But suppose you don't remember what that something was. This is where this sklearn quick references comes into play. So just go to this part, find, search for k-fold. This is it. You can see that it is from the sklearn.model selection. So what it helps you is basically search for the names or the APIs associated to some task. This means that you won't be required to remember the names for all the APIs. For that, you can use this sheet. I mean, it is good if you remember it, because if you will be regularly coding, it is very obvious that those names will be in your mind. But in case if you don't remember, the sheet will be provided there for your reference. Can we use our copy of this? No, don't take a copy of this with yourself. The sheet will be attached in the exam portal only. So while you are on the exam portal, touch on that link. The sheet will open in a tab, and then only three tabs you will be allowed to switch between: the Colab notebook, the exam portal, and the sheet. That's it. You won't be allowed to open this copy of yours. Okay. So any other queries we have, or can we copy from the sheet to the portal? No, no, you can copy paste. I mean, Google Colab Notebook supports copy pasting tasks. So you can copy something from here and paste it there. It is allowed. Your overall aim should be to reach the final answer, report that final answer in the exam portal, submit it, because the submitted answers will be considered from there, but your coding portion will be seen from the Colab notebook. Okay. The file is being pinned, I guess. You can check the pinned links. File is pinned by the secretary. Not, let me share the link once again. Tab out warning. What do you exactly want to ask, sir? I'm unable to get your query. Yes, Mr. Yepan, you have some query. You have raised hand. If you are saying something, sir, I'm not able to hear you. Yeah, for the Google Colab file, the team will share a mail with you. So in that mail, you will be having a Google Sheet. In that Google Sheet, you will need to search for your roll number. So corresponding to your roll number, there will be a Google Colab file link attached. Okay.
Okay, and the next one is one of the practice assignment. If you look at, we used one heart encoder, right? So I had two columns, and it is a binary. Post one heart encoder, it becomes, let's say, I add four more columns. Now, if I drop the original two, it is only the four new features which got added. But in the options, I didn't have four, it is six. So should we drop or should we not? We should not touch that.
No, no. Until unless anything is mentioned, don't do anything from your end. Like,
Okay.
suppose if you are aware of the thing called drop equals to first, it is an parameter associated to the one hot encoding.
Okay.
So in one of the OPPs of the last term or last to last term, it happened that there were 7 columns which were for the task of one hot encoding. And many
Okay.
people did this mistake of writing drop equals to first as a default
Okay.
stuff. And
Hmm.
it was asked in the follow-up question that what is the number of features you are getting after doing the
Yeah,
pre-processing
correct.
task.
Correct. Correct.
So the answer would have been 20 if you wouldn't have dropped the features, but people actually dropped it using the first attribute. So it got reduced by 7. So people
Yeah,
are getting 13 as answer.
right.
So until unless mentioned, please don't do anything from your end. Just
Oh,
blindly follow the instructions.
thank you. Thank you. That's all from us.
Okay, okay, sir. So if we have got all the queries covered, let's get to the Colab environment and practice some questions. I hope everyone is excited for that. If yes, then please open Colab notebooks. I'll be sharing the link of datasets with you. Code alongside, ask questions, no issues with that. Okay. Let me open my Colab as well. Hasn't opened yet. Okay, I hope the Colab notebook is visible to you all. So one more instruction regarding the Google Colab notebook as well. When you go into the settings and go to the AI assistants, you need to basically turn these two off and turn the third one on. This is now the exact environment you will be getting for your exam. You won't be allowed to use any AI assistance or auto completion feature. Only those features which are part of the Google Colab environment will be allowed to use. Okay. Now someone was asking about the sklearn documentation. So firstly, let me cover that query as well. Okay, so the collab is started. Now, suppose you want to see or refer the documentation of one hot encoding. Okay. So firstly, let's get that from sklearn.preprocessing. Now, if you don't remember the documentation of one hot or the any attribute or parameter associated to one hot encoder, so you can use two methods to refer to the documentation. One could be writing a question mark followed by the name, which is one hot encoder. So if you do this in this separate notebook, you will be getting the official documentation of it. Okay. So in this, you can find a brief definition, then all the parameters associated to it, what you need to write, what all the parameters, take the values, etc. And if you scroll down a little bit, you will also find some solved examples as well. So in case if you don't remember writing the code, you can even copy paste it from here. Anything which is part of the Google Colab environment, you are allowed to use that. So feel free to access anything from. Other method could be using the help command. In the help, you can write one hot encoder. And if you write it here, so this documentation will open in the same page. You won't have to go to some other place. This documentation will open in front of you here only. So you can refer to this documentation from here as well. This is also complete documentation. It just this method has a better readability. Now, a question might arise that it is a little rigorous to scroll every time. So for that, suppose if you want to understand about the sparse output, like you are seeing it here. Now, suppose I was here and I don't want to scroll down. So just simply do Control F mention sparse output here and search for it. Eventually you will reach to the desired place you want to go. So even this thing is accessible to you. Okay. So separately, you won't be allowed to refer to the sklearn documentation. I mean, you are not allowed to open a separate tab and go to the sklearn documentation from there. But within the Colab environment, you are free to use it. Okay. So let me get some questions for you. Okay, since I was saying from the very first second that we will be discussing about the model building part, so let's do that. These two imports are images needed. So let's get some questions for the model building part. Sharing a link or a text message in the chat box. Copy paste it as it is. This is for the dataset. Okay. If you run this, the dataset will be there in front of you. So you can see that this dataset for the model building exercise is just numerical values. That's it. It is pre-processed. It won't be having any missing values or different data types or any issue like that. This dataset is completely pre-processed for you, and it will be mentioned in the instructions that which of the following feature is the feature number is your target variable. Okay. So in this specific one, the 14th or the last column is basically the target column. If anyone is unable to get the data set, give me a second. Yes, if anyone is unable to get the data set from this link, I'll also share the original drive link for the data set. So let me tell you the instructions for this exercise. Our instructions for this exercise are the file has no index column. The last column is our target column, and the first row of the file contains the column IDs. Okay. So these are the column IDs. So firstly, let's separate out the feature matrix and the target matrix. So for that, I can use this specific attribute called df.drop. 14th one is our target one, so I'll be dropping it. It will be dropped alongside axis1 because axis1 refers to columns. So by writing this code, I have separated out the feature matrix in the target matrix. Okay. Now this specific set of instructions, which is about the splitting of the dataset. The dataset is to be splitted using the train test split, in which the size has to be taken 30% and random state of 42. Other parameters will have default values. Okay. Columns, except the last column, should be of the main feature matrix. Last column is a label vector. So let me get that from sklearn.model selection code train test split x train x test y train y test train test split x y test size, which is equals to either 30% or 0.3, and random state, which is taking 42. Splitting is done. Let's get to some questions. So the easy questions can be like, this specific one. My bad. This has to be written in a text box. So this is what an easy question could look like. It will be just a mention about what model you need to use, on which you need to train, which set is to be the model trained, either on the training or on the validation, and the parameters associated. So it says you need to instantiate a ridge model and with the following parameters which I mentioned. And then when you are done with this task, you'll have to give some answers, which are the first question will be the value of R2 score. Okay, let me write the questions as well. So the first question will be the value of R2 score. The second question could be telling which of the features is most important. Next question could be most important feature. Yes, it could be on that. So anyone wanna give try to these questions? If someone is able to tell me the code, what should I do? That would be nice. Let's keep the session interactive. Otherwise, I'll code. Anyone who wanna tell?
We can import
So
the
we are
ridge.
importing the ridge model.
Yeah,
Then
escalon dot linear model ridge,
yeah,
and then
you can just tell me the
matrices.
steps. You can just tell me the steps. I will do the code.
Yeah, and then R2 score from matrices.
Matrix, yes.
Then just put the initiate the model with the parameters.
Since initiating the model, fitting the model on the training set, and eventually,
And then
yes, after the model has been fitted,
initiate.
I'll be finding the values of the questions which is asked. Okay.
Yeah.
R2 score. There's a mistake. Escape. Matrix. This will be matrix. From SQL matrix, import R2 score. Now let's say the model is rich. And all the parameters that you have, alpha equals to 10, solver equals to saga, tolerance, which is given 1 e minus 1. Then random state. By this, you have written the model or instantiated the model. Then this model will be fitted on your training set. So X train, Y train. So when you are done with this part, all you need to do is read the questions and give the answer. So the first question says that you need to tell the R2 score for the test data set. So to tell the R2 score based on the test data set, all you will be need to write is including the R2 score. Then give the true label, which is Y test, and then give your predictions. So rich dot predict X test. The predictions are made on the test set. And just like this, you will be having your R2 score for this specific task. So I hope this is what an easy question looks like and you are understanding what you need to do. The next question says to tell you the index of the most important feature. Note that the index starts from 0 and ignore the intercept. Intercept is to be ignored for both of the follow-up questions. Okay. So for a regression model, all of us know that the answers or the final product is basically we are getting the coefficient values corresponding to each feature that we have. So to extract that coefficient values, I can use the attribute associated to the rich model. So rich dot coef, if you write this, which is not defined. Oh, spelling mistake. And you can see I'm having an array which is containing the values for the each coefficient which is part of our initial feature matrix. Now the question says I need to tell the index of the most important and the least important feature, right? So for identifying the most important and least important, our first thing would be to ignore the negatives and the positive signs. So for that, I can write all of this as APS. So this will return the absolute values, the mod values. Now, based on these absolute values, all I need to answer is basically the index. So to get the index, I can use the argmin, argmax for our case. Argmax can be used. And you can see that the ninth, I mean the specific feature which is at the ninth index is our most important one. In similar fashion, to get it for the least important one, I can write arg. So these three questions are done. This is how a basic question would look like. Now, let me get a question for the hyperparameter tuning task. That will give you the essence of it. The next instruction set is this. Try understanding this instruction set. And meanwhile, let me get the questions. Okay, so this question is about the hyperparameter tuning exercise. In this exercise, what you need to do is basically instantiate a SGD regressor model with grid search CV. So grid search CV is a technique in which you will be telling a parameter grid, which is this specific portion. And based on this provided parameter grid, your model or the estimator will be trained for every possible combination that can exist. Based on all these combinations, using the cross-validation technique for internal scoring and testing, after the model is being fitted, you will be getting the best possible estimators corresponding to this data set of yours. Okay. Yes, I'll be taking the questions on the ensemble and the tree methods as well. Okay, so any idea how do we write code for this? Search CV from a scalar dot linear model import SGD regressor. Then let's write the simple parameter grid firstly. Parameter grid SGD. And let's mention the values. Nullity, which is L1, L2 for our provided case. Then next we have the alpha values. This is a specific pattern in which we need to provide the grid only. I can copy paste it, okay? So the next would be the values of tolerance.
Sir, in alpha value there is a spelling that typo error.
Is the typo error? Okay, I see. Thank you for this. I hope it's rectified now. So now let's have the grid model. So the grid model can be instantiated here. Now the grid set CV. Following it, I'll need to use the SGD regressor. And since it is mentioned that I need to take a random state, I'll be writing that as well. I need to take the value of cross validation, or I should say CVS 5, and scoring is to be set as negative mean absolute error. Since the grid model is defined, I'll be taking it grid model dot fit x train y train. Let's run this. There seems to be some error. Oh, the parameters grid is missing. The main stuff. Parameter grid for SGD. Yep. So now the model will be fitted based on this SGD regressor estimator for all the possible combinations that can exist using this parameter. And after this has run, I have got a best model for this SGD regressor. Now what I need to tell is basically the best penalty and the value of negative mean absolute error for the test data set. So to get the best estimator or the best parameters which we have got for our model, I'll be writing an attribute called the best model dot best params. I mean the grid model dot best params. So what it will return me is the parameters associated to our best estimator. So alpha has a best value of 0.001, penalty is L2, and tolerance is 1E minus 4. Okay. So based on this, you can tell the best penalty is L2, and the for the negative or the mean absolute error, what I can do is import from sklearn.metrics mean absolute error, then mean absolute error on the two levels of test set and the predictions. Red model dot best estimator. So best estimator will return me the best model, and then prediction is to be taken test set. So this is what the value of the mean absolute error you are getting. Okay. So this is what the hyperparameter tuning parts question will look like. Okay. Till here, anyone has any queries?
Sir, in previous question, it was written we have to avoid zero something. Like
Where?
no, before this one.
Ignore the intercept.
Okay, start from zero, ignore that. Okay, sorry, my bad.
Oh. Yes, you can write predictions as like store the predictions in the separate variable and eventually use that variable in the model or the metric. Okay. It is advisable to use the best estimator. I mean, if you will be removing it, even then the result will be the same because the grid model is generally considering after fitting the best model only. But to make sure that you are using the best estimator only. It doesn't take a lot from your side. All you need to do is just add a dot and best estimator so that you are pretty much sure that you are taking the estimation using the best estimator only. Okay, so this is what the different kind of questions would follow. Now, for other questions in which we have PCA, Will the order to pass the Y bread and Y test argument matter? In general, the documentation suggests that firstly you need to mention the true labels and then the prediction labels. So ideally, I have always followed what the documentation has said. So that is why I firstly write the two labels. Then following to it, I write the prediction labels. Okay. This will start mattering more when you will be getting to the classification task, because there you are writing the classification report and the confusion matrix display. So in the confusion matrix, it is advisable to write it because the true labels and the act or the prediction labels, if you change the position, your false positives, false negatives, and all the other associated metrics might get different. So that's why it is advisable to always write the true labels name first, followed by the prediction labels. Okay. Now, for more questions associated to the model building part, you can refer to the Colab notebooks which we have provided you for practice, right? You will be finding questions based on PCA using pipeline. You will be provided questions with pipeline and what do I say? The grid search or the hyperparameter tuning using the pipeline and all of that. Okay, so Ms. Suprita has asked, can we get the R2 score by using the score function? No, every time you won't be getting the R2 score using the score function. Like suppose for this question, which I have discussed, if in this question you want to find the R2 score, suppose I use the score one in this, okay? Let's try what the result will come out. Red model dot score X test, comma, Y test. So you see, we are getting what I am getting here is a negative score. Okay. Now let me find the R2 score here as well. This R2 score will be based on Y test, comma, grid model dot best estimator dot predict X test. I hope you can see the difference. Here the score is giving you some other value other than the R2 score. Do you know why this is happening? Because while defining your model for the grid search part, you have specifically mentioned that the scoring you need to take in consideration is the negative mean absolute error. That is why you are getting a negative value of the mean absolute error. I hope you can see that is exactly the mean absolute error, just the negative value of it. That is why we are getting the difference. In general or in the default, it is always the R2 score, which is defined as the scoring for various models. And that is why you get the value of score as R2 score. But it is advisable to calculate the R2 score using the separate metric just to ensure that you are getting the correct answers. Okay. Now to give you an idea of the other questions which you will be getting for the decision tree or other parts associated to that. Okay, so let's do this question associated with decision tree. So this is the set of question which you are instructions which you are getting for the decision tree regressor part. Okay, specific instructions regarding the decision tree regressor model are given, like what are the parameters you need to take. And then what you need to do is basically hyperparameter tuning using grid search CV. The parameter index is given to you. Try writing the code for this until I'm copying the questions which can be asked. Yes, Mr. Ramakant.
Sir, in this OPPE, generally in Python and all, we don't get collab, na? So we'll get collabs. Means
Yes.
okay.
Yes. Did you join the session late?
Yes, 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 sir.
Okay, so I have told in the starting what all will be the pattern and how the things will follow. So
Okay,
you can access the recording for that part. Okay.
okay, sir. Yeah, thank you.
So you can see that there is a different set of questions when you get to this part of various models associated to it. Like here we are seeing for the decision tree. So try writing the code for this. Syllabus beta 5, 10, and 15. Next is max features. Max features are taken from square root sqrt and from log. This is the defined parameter grid for this. Now you need to tell the grid model for the, let's say, the decision tree I'm writing. So grid search CV. In this, I'll be calling the decision tree regression model. In case if you're not getting these suggestions or the pop-up boxes, you can use the control plus space. Okay. So if you are not getting it, you can write control plus space and they will and drop down box will open for you. Okay. So in this, we have to mention the criterion and random state. So criterion I can write just to be taken as absolute error. Random state, I need to write the value as 42. Then I'll be writing the parameter grid. Parameter season tree. I provided with the cross validations. Okay, so CV and scoring is to be same, which we have write it. So I can copy paste it. So CV and scoring is mentioned, and I also need to add the in jobs equals to -1. This model has to be fitted. Grid model D3, and this has to be fitted on the training set. Let's see what the questions are. Firstly, it needs to ask the best. It is asking the best max depth value. So after this model is fitted, you can use that similar command of grid model dt dot best param. Okay. You can see that there are some things written about the warnings associated. So you are expected to ignore these warnings. And if you don't want to see them in your code as well, what you can do is write this specific code block as well, which is code warnings and warnings dot filter warnings in parentheses. So if you write this and then run this again, so after fitting, the result you will be getting will be just your fitted model. All the warnings which have been coming would be ignored. Okay. So for getting the best max depth value, I'll be using this best params. See, the result has been changed. So the best mix depth is coming to be 20. Now the next question is using the best estimator, find the R2 score. I believe you can do that. Now it is asking, the next question is how many nodes are there in the best tree? So for that, you will be using the attributes which are associated with the tree model. Okay. So if I give you an idea about it, it could be the grid model bt dot best estimator. Then to get the node value or what is the many nodes present in this. Yes. Okay. So to find this value, what you can do is basically use this attribute called node count. Okay. Now, if you don't remember all these attributes, you need to refer the documentation for that. Okay. So go into the document. Node count. So node count it is. It is node count is. If the node count is not there, dot tree model should be dot tree model. Tree Missed estimator, dot tree two rows. Seems to be something wrong with it. Grid model dt dot best estimator dot tree. The tree might have an underscore. Yeah. So this is what happens if you don't underscore after a tree. Yes, as mentioned. So to go through these all these attributes which are associated, if you don't remember them correctly, you can anyways access the documentation. So these things will come into your memory if you keep practicing them fine. Okay. So you can refer to those. Then it says, what is the absolute error impurity at the root? So this could be found by plotting the entire decision tree in front of you. And for plotting the tree in front of you, you can basically use this um, special import from the sklearn.tree, which is called plot tree. Sklearn.tree import plot. Now, if you haven't imported matplotlib, you need to import that as well. Matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Then you will be plotting the tree using the plot tree. And then in this, you need to define the estimator which you are considering. So this is grid model dt dot best estimator. Then how much depth you need. Suppose you need to find for the root node. Let me give a depth of say 2. So the depth can be given, and then since you want all these values to be filled, so you'll be writing filled equals to true, and max depth is given. Anything else? Rounded value. Let's see if this plot shows up. PLT dot show. What an unexpected step would be then. Yeah, you can see that a tree is opening in front of you, which is the tree for this specific decision tree model which we have obtained. So to get a better view of this, you can change the figure size as well, which is plt.figure size. So size. So PS size you can give to this, say 10 or 12, maybe this works. Yep, you can see that it has zoomed in a little bit. If I reduce the max depth value here, the tree might be of more zoomed in. Yes, you can see, and you can read the values from here now. So it is asking in the question that what is the absolute error impurity for the root. So this one, or the first node that we have, is basically called the root. This is your root. So what you need to tell is the impurity associated to it, or the absolute error. So the value is 6.178. So this is how it works. Takes a condition, the true or false, and based on those true or false, the splitting is done in the decision tree, right? So multiple such questions can be found in the practice notebooks that we have attached for your reference. Okay. So you can refer to those notebooks, practice for the questions. If you have any doubt, go through the sessions which we have taken. We have practiced around 3 OPPs in those sessions. And for the remaining ones, we will also be sharing the answer sheets tomorrow. Okay. So practice more from your side. Model building part will be relatively easier. Just give time, things will happen, and you will reach the answers. Try to complete it within 40 to 45 minutes so that you have plenty amount in your hand for the pre-processing part. Okay. Any questions we have till now? If we don't have any more questions, so we can move to some topics or maybe some questions based on the model building portion. Okay. Just to give you an idea of that part as well. Let's move to the model building exercise as well. Someone has raised hand. What are the inferences we can get from this tree? You can see what all is being written in this tree. You can see that at the root node, it had 2,800 samples. And the condition which it took in consideration before doing the split was if the value in the feature matrix at the sixth index, was it lesser than equals to 0.41? If the condition holds true, the split was made in this direction. If the condition holds false, the split was made in this direction. Now, based on this split, you can see further two conditions are given. That for the feature matrix, if the zeroth index element was lesser or equal to 0.166, so other split was created. And in similar fashion, you can see the impurity associated with each node, the condition that is taken, the number of samples which are encountered at each of the node. So these are the inferences you can take from this tree. Let's get to some questions for the pre-processing part. Oh, we will keep the session a little more interactive in the pre-processing part because everyone was very much silent in this portion. Let me get the data set for you. I have with me, yes, I have this data set. So I'm sharing a link of other data set in the chat box. You can see that this data set link, and you can do this data set for this pre-processing exercise. Okay. So copy paste the code, run it. So the data set will open in front of you. Let me also give you some metadata associated with this data set. I'll be adding it in the Colab notebook only. So this is what the metadata is associated with this data set is. You can see that this data set is basically about the prediction of selling prices of second-hand cars. You have the name of the car, the year in which it was manufactured, how long it has been driven, the fuel type, the seller type, about the information about the owner, the mileage of the car, engine, max power, torque, seats, everything has been given. Okay. All these have been mentioned. And this attribute of selling price is the target attribute in this one. As of now, we aren't pretty much considered about the target attribute. Why so? Because we have done the model building exercise. Here we will be working on the pre-processing stuff. Okay. So let me ask some general questions firstly. I can see that the year and seats column as of now considers some numerical values. So tell me the count or the year number which has the maximum number of cars sold. Okay. I hope you understood the question. The question is you need to tell me that specific year in which most number of cars was sold. You will be writing a simple one-liner code for this thing. Write the code in the chat box, okay? Or you can even tell, unmute and tell. Anyone? I hope anyone knows this. It is very easy. It's simple one-liner code. You need to tell me the year in which maximum number of cars were sold. Are you guys there in the session? I mean, if it had to be like a class, then you could have, okay. You could have watched the TA sessions now. I wanted this session to be a little more interactive.
Sir, I'm new for MLP, so I'm
Everyone who is in this meet or is going to attempt the OPP is surely new to this course. The content is for like past 5 weeks. You got a good time to practice. Yeah, value counts is the thing you will be using. TF here dot value counts. So this attribute will return you the counts associated to various years, and what you need to tell me is basically the year number in which maximum number of cars were sold. So you can see that for the year 2017, 1018 cars were sold. The next question could be, tell me the standard deviation for the column seats. Okay. SEATS. For the column seats, tell me the standard deviation. You guys are like not able to answer these easier questions. Okay. Please practice more. Yes, DF seats dot STT. Yep, the standard deviation comes to be 0.959. Okay, since Deepak has mentioned about df.describe, can anyone tell me quickly what df.describe does?
sir, it tells about mean, average, all the information.
So basically it gives you the descriptive statistics. Yes, the descriptive statistics associated to the numerical features only. The output, the columns which you will be seeing, or if I do the transpose for better readability, These 4 rows which you are seeing here, selling price, kilometer driven, and seed. These are the numerical features which we have in our dataset. Okay. So it will give you the descriptive statistics for the numerical features only. Okay. So your next question could be, think of the question. Plot a histogram plot for the selling price attribute. Okay. Selling price feature, the target attribute. Okay. Tell me the code for that. What libraries can we use for the plotting of stuff? Plotting of visualizations that we need? Yes, matplotlib.pyplot is one, and cbond is other library that we can use. So what, suppose I have shown you matplotlib in the earlier one, so let me use cbond this time. Import cbond as SNS. So SNS dot, since we need a histogram plot, so I'll be writing this plot. Yes, selling price. Oh, hasn't taken. Selling. I hope you can see that we have got simple histogram plot for this selling price attribute. What type of curve is this? What type of graph it is?
Right skewed.
Yes, it is right skewed graph, and you can see that the selling price is in 1E7. I hope you understand what this 1E7 is. 1E7 stands for 10 raised to power 7. So the pricing would be something in between, I could say a lakh or something like that. Okay. Yes, Mr. Sriraman has answered right skewed single mode. Yeah, you can say it. Good answer. Okay. So let's get to some conditional based questions on this. The conditional based questions. Okay. Conditional based questions. What can be? One conditional question that you can have is you need to tell me that which year got the highest average selling price. Let me write the question as well so that you can think of it. Which year got the highest average selling price? Just think of the logic and tell me what you have thought. We can write the code and I'll be telling you the optimal way of writing the code eventually. But firstly, tell me what is your approach or thought process for thinking this one? What can be done to find the answer of this question?
Find the average selling price for each year.
Okay, so I need to find the average selling price corresponding to each year. But then how am I supposed to do that? Like I need to make some groupings in the dataset or make some selections in the dataset, right? And those groupings are to be on the basis of year, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be making some groupings based on the year value. And then for that specific year values, I will be considering the selling price attribute and then taking the highest
Average.
from it, right? The average
Yeah.
and then the highest from the average, right?
Yeah.
So how do I make groupings? Any idea?
Uh, Group by function.
Yes, there is this attribute called group by. So the groupings has to be made based on year value. Then after making the groupings based on year value, which attribute I need to select is the selling price. Then when I have selected the selling price, What I need to do is basically take the mean value of it. Let's see what I get in the output. So I'm getting a huge list of all the years and some selling price mean values corresponding to it. Now from this, what I need to do is select the highest value, right? So
Yes.
what can I do?
Dot sort.
Sort what?
Sort by value.
Of year or selling price?
Selling price.
Exactly. So we have for the sort one, we have basically two possible cases. Either we can sort based on our index, which in case here is year, or we can sort based on the values. So in our case, the values are selling price. So we will be sorting based on values. Okay. Sort values. See what happens. So if you see, the sorting has been done in the ascending order. To get that in the descending, I can use yes, ascending equals to false. By doing so, I'll be getting the highest value at the top. And then I can extract the first one using head one. I have reached to my answer, which is 2019. So which year has got the highest average selling price? It is the year of 2019, and the selling price is also mentioned. So this is the kind of question you can get in sort values. Someone has answered. So these are the kind of questions you can get for the part of selections and conditional selections as well. Okay, let me take one more question. So this would be this one. This is a much better question than the previous one. Size focus as well. How many individual sellers with second-hand ownership are there for the diesel fueled cars? So here you need to basically take three conditions in consideration. One is that you need to select the seller type as individual, the owner, which is second-hand owner, and the fuel type should be diesel. And you need to tell the count, right? Any idea how can I do this? I mean, I have told you the logic. All you need to write is the conditional statement for it. The conditional statement is written like df, and in this you will be again mentioning about other conditions. The first condition is df seller type, which has to be equals to individual. The spelling, will it be capital or small? Let me check what are the unique values. df seller type individual is in capital letters. So this is one condition followed by an and operator. Then the next condition that I want is the owner should be a second-hand owner. Owner second. Okay, let's check for the owner as well. So it says second owner. Last condition which I want to keep in mind is DF and fuel is diesel. So this will give me the data frame corresponding to this selection. Now, to get the number, I can use simply the shape attribute. And since I want the number of rows, so I'll be writing it 0. So 1124 are such in which the seller type is individual, the owner is a second-hand owner, and the fuel is diesel. Okay. This is how you can solve the questions of conditioning. So for grouping, in grouping conditions, use the group by attribute where you need to make grouping based on one condition, then tell the answer. And if this is straightforward, true, false, or and or conditioning, use this methodology. Okay. Any queries till now? Yes, Mr. Niranjan.
Hi, sir. Can
Sorry.
you also use filter or is it only using and?
Uh, exactly what do you mean? Filter is some attribute you are saying for that?
No, there's like you can filter is a function, right, that we can use. Is that not possible?
Okay, I haven't used that much. So can you tell me the code which I need to try? I mean, I can try it. Tell
No,
me the code you have.
I'm not entirely sure because there's a filter function in Java, so I'm not sure if
No,
it's
actually, there's a dot filter that
right.
can be used with
Yeah,
pandas.
Yeah.
that's
So it has to be used with pandas.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, filter. If this exists, it will exist a filter. Let me see how it works. Do I have a documentation for it? No. Filter. Filter. Found. Yes, filter doesn't have. So it something like this. Subset the data frame rows and columns according to the specified index labels. So this you have to okay. Then this one. Okay, so as of what I can understand from the example, that you need to give the arrays in which you want to or the numbers of those specific columns which you want to filter. Like in this case, we were talking about the seller type. The next one was dealer. It was owner and then fuel. So either I can give the names or the indexes of them, and eventually I'll have to filter by based on the conditions of individual, second owner, and diesel separately in a different axis. So if you want to follow this, or maybe you are pretty much sure with writing the code for this function, you can go ahead with it as well. But if I am doing it with the pandas data frame manipulation technique, then for that I have this specific code. Since I'm pretty familiar and have been writing code with this manner, I generally prefer writing it this way. But any way which you are familiar with or you are comfortable with, your last task is to reach the answer. So you can use any way, okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Can we use group by for this question? Oh, yeah, query is one other thing that we can use. Someone has shared the code, so let me show that as well. So this df.query works very much like the queries that we write in case of SQL. So I need to define the specific attribute which I am talking about, then mention the relations. And if I run this code, I'll be also getting the answer. So if you're not very comfortable in writing with this manner or some other way, then you can also use this query in which it is pretty much like English statements you have written. Okay. So let me look for some question with the string operation now. Okay. That would be another different methodology we can use. Okay. So those are for the columns of mileage and max power or max power engine. See the mileage and engine. Okay. If H. So can you see like that in the case of mileage or engine, let me give more rows for better reference. There is a unit, and precursor to that unit is we have a numerical value. And if I consider for a model, these numerical values are something which could be of better understanding, or the model would be needing the numerical values so that it could use the calculations or perform the calculations on it. So one thing that we can do is try to extract these numerical values for these specific attributes which I have mentioned using the string operations. Okay. So what will be our aim is to extract these initial numerical values using the string operation for this column of mileage and engine. And I want to change it here in the data frame only. Okay. So for this, I can use the string operation method. So let me try or write it down in this df. The first one is mileage. Okay. So to ensure that the change happens in the original column only, I can write it in the manner. Okay. So if I write it in equals to manner, this will ensure that the change will happen in the specific column in the data frame model. Dot str. So by writing this dot str, what I'm ensuring is that I am moving to the string methods. Okay. And then I can write a lambda function within it. Dot str or dot split in ps. Dot split split. Split. Then within this, I can tell the condition lambda x such that the splitting will be not split. Is it that? str. Okay. This has to be within the str value. Str lambda x such that x dot split. The splitting will be done around the space. Then we will extract the zeroth one from it. Firstly, let's try writing it in a separate line. Be sure if we are not getting it. String method object is not callable. Why isn't it callable? Plus, this is not because of this. This CR equals method is going to split self environmental string method returning us to using separator note is mainly useful for data that has been intentionally delimited. Sweet string. Okay, then I should try writing it using a function maybe. That would be a better approach. Let's try writing it using a function. So let's define a function, call it extract first. And maybe call the thing within it as an element, really. And then what will be my goal is to ensure that we will be returning for this specific string ELE, str of E and E. I will be making a split space, extracting the first one from it. Okay, hope this works. Function has been defined. Let's try df which what life function is extract first the extract first. Do I need to mention something? It's not that will be enough. Does this work? Like this one first, pressing an argument, which is element that is to be given. So it could be an argument. Okay, knowledge.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
What if we want to perform a more complicated split? That maybe uh, can we use some regex to?
I guess you can use that using the filter function only because when I
Okay.
in the documentation of the filter, in that I saw something related to regex as well. Maybe let me show you that. You can figure it out. In the meanwhile, let me see what error I am doing this one. Post PDF filter. You see in the examples there is something mentioned.
Yes, I can see.
In the meanwhile, let me think what mistake I am making here.
You have to pass the parameter to the extract first.
Yes, I'll have to that. There was another way I did it before. Just forgetting it. What I did was a little bit different. Last time I wrote it using the lambda function. The extracts first, and then maybe a df mileage has to be written this. Or for I values in this. This will run in the entire set, then that is a way. Extract strong. Extract first here. First, this might work. Yep, this is working. It was some mistake from my end only. These were being extracted as numerical values. That's why it was giving the error. Okay, so firstly, let me explain what I have written in this code. Is basically for every element that will be passed to this function, it will be considered a string or it is a string value. So a split will be made around this space which is present in between. So when a split is being made around this space which is present in between, we have two values, one on the left side of it, one on the right side of it. So this one will be given the index 0 and this one will be given the index 1. So in this case, like 23.4 will be index 0 and KMPL, which is the unit, will be index 1. So I have to select the numerical value only. So for that, I'm using the index 0. And then to ensure that the output which is returned is basically in the form of a string as well, I have written this dot as type equals dot as type of string, and the code is being running. Now to ensure if this change is made in the entire data frame, I'll have to write it as df mileage equals to statement. And you will be seeing that this change will be made in the original column. So if I write it df dot head again, so you can see that the mileage column is now changed. What would be the type of mileage now after extracting? Let's check what is the type. If info This will return the type. So mileage is object. It's still of data type string. Okay. So if you want to change it, you can also write it as df mileage dot change data type, or maybe something like this. Let me give you the code. Which as type in 32. Oh, this is a float value. Yeah. Now, if you again run this one, so you will change that you will see that the mileage value has changed to float. Okay. What would be the type of mileage after it? I hope this query is also handled. So these were some questions I bought for you, and just to give you an idea. Other things you can do is, okay, one quick thing which we can also do is the correlation one. So we can check the correlation for our numerical values. So to ensure that we check for the numerical values, firstly, let's extract them as numerical data, calling as ef dot select dtype in, or should write exclude object, and then dot columns. So this will give me the columns of the numerical data type. Eventually, I can find a correlation using the df num data dot coordinate, and then plot a heat map is score value. Let's see if this comes out. Yep. So a heat map could also be a question which could be asked for to you. In this, it could be asked like you need to tell the pair with the highest positive correlation or the highest negative correlation. So this is how you can do this part of heat map, in which you can tell the correlation relations between a pair of features. So that's it from my side for this session. I request you all to please practice all the practice notebooks which we have shared for your reference. Those will act as a good idea for you to get an idea or information about the OPP exam in exact how will it be. I hope this session was somewhat useful to you and I could have shared some valuable insights and tips to you. The Colab file, okay, I will be sharing it. Just give me a second. We share it here only. So everyone who stayed till the last. Hope the session was somewhat useful.
Hi, Shitesh. Is the session over?
Yep, from my side, the content delivery is over. I've also shared the Colab notebook link for reference.
Okay. Are there any doubts from anyone before I
So
stop the
where will the
recording?
recording get uploaded?
It will be on Kaziranga House channel, and we'll record it and upload it there. The link will be. I mean, you're already having the YouTube link in the chat, so just go to that channel, and you'll be able to access the Kaziranga House YouTube channel. So,
Sir, I had joined late. So, how to get those notebooks?
yeah, so I think we'll share them. I think Vinay and Aviral are there. Please take note of all the notebooks that have been shared by Shitish in the chat. Copy them somewhere and put them in a doc, and we'll share it with these students. Okay. So currently, thank you first of all, Shitish. Thank you for joining, and thank you for this wonderful session today.
Thank you,
Um,
Chetan, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Okay, and thank you all for joining today. I'll just end the recording and streaming. Just a second.
Humble request from my side to please join the TA sessions and the instructor sessions regularly, because we are putting a lot of efforts for your good only. So attend these sessions regularly, practice a lot, because this subject is very scoring. All you need to do is just practice. I hope I might see some more